Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and welcome back to another episode of Total Recon, the show where I take a look at games under development, in early access, or in alpha or beta. And I've got an early access title for you today. It's called Shadowblade Reload. Now, Shadowblade, based on the aesthetic at the moment, might evoke ideas of things like Mark of the Ninja, for example. That's not really the case. In fact, if I was to describe this game, it's basically 10-second Ninja. The only difference is it's got much higher fidelity graphics, and it is a sort of speedrunning game, but not in the same way that 10-second Ninja is. Now, I'm going to get into this game at the beginning. Now, it does have controller support, and actually I would recommend a controller. I've tried using the keyboard, and although the controls are completely rebindable, don't get me wrong, I will say that the keyboard controls they feel a lot clunkier to use for this sort of game. It's very hard to transition between the different keys. Of course, you can remap them to something that's a bit more preferable for you, so it might work well for you. I tried the default setup, it kind of didn't really work out for me. It wasn't that comfortable to use. With the controller, it seems to work quite fine. I'm using the standard Xbox 360 controller, and that seems to work just fine for a game like this. So, yeah, just pick whatever's your fancy, I suppose. Although the game feels more like it was set up for the keyboard. It's a really strange sort of thing. But I'll explain to you as we go on. Now, I've gone to play mode. This sort of screen might be very familiar to a lot of you that have played iOS games like Angry Birds and stuff before. Mainly because this particular screen that you're seeing right here, and is mouse driven by the way, it does this weird little thing where the camera moves around whenever you move the mouse. Odd choice, but you know, at least gives a little bit of life to it. But anyway, so all of these are the different levels that you have. There's a normal mode. There's no easy mode, by the way. Normal is not actually easy. It's actually pretty challenging at normal. There's a hardcore mode, and then a master class, which is not available yet in this particular build. So these are the different difficulty levels. And there are several different maps that they are working on as well. Like I said, this is early access. So one of the main things that's going to be coming out of this early access period is just more maps. The rest of the game already feels very complete, and you'll see that as we get into it. So you can see I've already completed a couple of levels. These are the grades that you get at the end. It's very, I would say, harks back to games such as Resident Evil and all that. A lot of Japanese games which used to give you that grading at the end, especially games like DDR and all that. Dance Dance Revolution, if everyone remembers. They give you a letter grading at the end. There's something that Hotline Miami does as well. Very simple, very easy to understand grading system. I like it. I think I prefer the letters grading as opposed to things like the medals or the stars or whatever else you see. This just seems a lot cleaner and a lot nicer. I much prefer that. There is a scoring system as well. So we're going to go into the first level and just kind of show you what this game is all about. When you select the level, you'll kind of see all of these things on the right side. You have your timing. There's a target time on the right side and the best time on the left side, so you can kind of see where we're at in terms of difficulty there. Orbs are those things you have to collect, and there's kanji symbols to go and find as well. So it's a speedrunning game essentially. So you can see as soon as the game begins, timer ticks down. I don't really like that. You know, give you a 3, 2, 1 go. You know, if it's a speedrunning game, that would have been nice. So already just me talking and not doing anything, time is already ticking down. I'm halfway through my time. You can see the prompts at the bottom of the screen right here are for keyboard. This game definitely is set up for the keyboard. It doesn't seem to be very controller friendly, but the controls work better for the controller. Like I can actually do things like movement, all the different abilities, the double jumps, the wall jumps, even the attacks and the shuriken throwing. By the way, the shurikens regenerate. And the air dash, which works in horizontal or downwards, which is interesting. All of that works really well with the controller, but trying to navigate the menus, it doesn't seem to have the options like using the D-pad to... Because I prefer using the D-pad instead of the analog sticks to try and control the menus. I don't know why, it's just a habit, I just kind of prefer that. But it doesn't give you that option. Very strange. It seems to work better with the mouse and keyboard for that, but the game just seems to prefer using the it just seems to run better on a controller. I don't know, it's really strange. Okay, so anyway, every time you die, the timer resets. No need to restart if you die. There's no lives or anything. It's as it is. So, you can see down here we hit X. There's X on the keyboard, by the way. It's referring to that. But it's actually X on the controller as well. So, a little bit confusing that. To do an attack. Now, the further away you attack from an enemy, it seems, the more damage and more points you seem to get. It's kind of like a rhythm game in the sense that timing is really important. I'm just going to restart this just to kind of demonstrate that. What happens if I leave it a little bit too late. So, you imagine with a sword, I want to go really close. Nope. See, I only got 200 points and I had to take 2 swings at that. But, if I do it from much further away, like you saw in the first one, see, I do it from about here, instant kill. And I got 300 points for it. In another case, you can also have a hook shot, which looks kind of nice. It's very Scorpion-esque, which I can't seem to do for whatever reason. But it does do a one-hit kill. That was a checkpoint, by the way. That skull thingy. This one. This is a skull. This is a checkpoint. Okay, so if you die, you'll respawn there instead. Useful, but it doesn't reset your timing as far as I know. So whatever timing you have when you reach there... Let's see, it reached there at 8 seconds, now I die. Nope, it respawns you there and continues the timing. I don't know, that might be a disadvantage. And then we have our wall jump, which by the way, you can just slide down here. We just do by hitting the jump button, which is A on the controller, and I believe it's Y or C on the keyboard. It's just, yeah, it's just that. And there's stealth kills as well, so we can just go up to him and just smack him. Now, here's the problem with a system like this. Alright, I think you can kind of already see it. But, oh, there's one of the kanji symbols that we have to collect. Now, I'm trying to remember what that kanji symbol is. It's not Japanese. I believe it's not. There's the hook shot. Also only gives us 200 points. Also, it's interestingly very gory for a game of this... with this kind of art style, but there we go, you know, we can't expect everything, and I died. We can't expect everything to be for, you know, particularly, oh, he's cleft him in twain! But it's just, you can't expect everything to be all cartoony. It's, I like it though, it is a refreshing thing to see. And you're gonna fall down. There we go. It is definitely very nice. I actually really like the art style. And the character seems to have a completely blacked out face. Now, that's not a racial remark. He's actually wearing a mask, but for some reason, it's completely... I suppose it's a ninja sort of thing, but then, you know, he's got this yellow hipster scarf, which is a little bit odd. No idea. The thing is, this game feels like a game that was designed for iOS. But it plays really well on the PC, and I can foresee this being a very good PC title. Just, the main problem I have with this sort of game, especially because it's a speedrunner's game, and I'm not particularly good at those. So you can see it's an abysmal score. Look at that, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Alright, the main problem I have with this is because there's combat in the game, so you kind of have to balance these sort of attacks and the whole platforming aspect of it together. You have to balance these things together while trying to reach a particular timing. Why can't I go there? I know I can. I can go there. So yeah, I'm bouncing off nothing now. The main problem I have with this is that the combat sometimes relies on particular types of animations, and those animations are limited. They're basically canned animations complete. And that kills me. These, you see what I mean? These animations are completely canned. Like, you have no control over them. I mean, they look nice, but in some cases, like what you saw just then, it got me killed because jumping over the target meant I landed in the spikes. At the same time, they have a limited time that they... God damn it, go through! They have a specific amount of frames they have to run for. Now, what I mean by that is that if you start this particular killing animation or takedown animation, you're kind of stuck in it for however long it takes. So, you, as a player trying to reach a particular timing, that seems to be a particular disadvantage because you have to factor in how long those animations are going to take. And I don't know if that's particularly fair. I mean, there's nothing against the animations themselves. I think they look nice, and I don't think they should remove them. But the fact is, you have no control over them. And in a game like this, unfortunately, it also means that a lot of the time your timing is to complete a level is going to be dependent on that. So it might make more sense than just to ignore the enemies entirely and just go for, you know, go for the exit. But the thing is, these enemies give you points when you kill them, and that adds up to your overall score. And although timing is shown in the stats on the levels, your grade is dependent on the final score. So it's a really bizarre thing that you have to balance the score and the timing and all that, and you're left with a situation where you have no control over just this one aspect that can affect your timing overall. The rest of it, of course, being the rest of it being your platforming skills and stuff like that. But it's just, as a player, I don't want to have to be sitting there, and I find it will be really frustrating for a lot of you guys to be stuck in that animation loop, trying to get a target score because, you know, the animation is still going and it's just sitting there watching that. So definitely not something I'm a fan of, but at the same time, I don't know. I like that the animations are there. I like the way they look. They're very well done, and they add a nice amount of character to the game. It's just that for a speedrunning game, it just seems a bit inappropriate. That's all. That's my main point. It's just it seems really inappropriate to have it because of what it can mean for your overall score. The other thing is, as far as how far I've already played into the game, I've only played just a third of the way, I'd say, through the first map, I'd say. But I'm liking the map design. There's a lot of variety in the levels that requires you to use a lot of skill to get through them. And you can see enemy variety does space out very early on. Like, you can see these snipers weren't here before. But suddenly, you know, you've got a new enemy type to deal with that can attack you at range, whereas before it was all these melee guys. So enemy variety is there. And the map design is good. So it definitely is a lot of fun to play. I just think that if you want to be somebody who's worrying too much about score, this might not be your type of game. It seems it's odd because it's set up for that, but it just doesn't seem that it would please a lot of... Wow, that's weird. That it would please these sort of speedrunners players. If you're really into speedrunning, this game might frustrate you quite a lot. That's what I'm gonna say. Let's just get away from him. Oh, shit. Narrowly escaped that one. But what you're seeing right now is, as far as the current amount of levels they already have in the game, it's very well polished, and with the amount of variety, it definitely has at least a few hours of enjoyment. And definitely if you're somebody who's keen on getting top scores and everything, it will keep you busy for quite some time. It's just that these little things will kind of, I would say, get really frustrating after a while. Also, one thing I forgot to mention earlier, these little yellow orbs that you collect for points, as it seems, do home in on you. I think you probably noticed that they do that, which does lend themselves to be a little bit more forgiving as far as the actual platforming goes. It shows you the way to go, but because they are attracted to you in some way, oh jeez, because they home in on you, your actual preciseness, I suppose, in terms of your actual path taken through the level, is somewhat more forgiving. I just got shot there. just went straight into that. Anyway, before I wrap this up, there's one more thing that I want to show you. This race mode, by the way, which I suspect is a multiplayer mode. I'm not entirely too sure about it, but it doesn't seem to be implemented just yet, so nothing there that we can do with that just yet. There is one more thing. It's this dojo editor. Now, what this editor is, at the moment, of course, you only have 20 by 20. I shouldn't have deleted that. And we can just... got a bunch of different options here. This is actually a level editor. So we can actually, just from a selection of things, you can put down some platforms. Just put a bunch of platforms all over the place. You can put bouncy buttons. Let's put enemies down. Yeah, we like enemies. And that sort of thing. With this sort of thing, although it's not complete yet, I can see there's still some things that are missing. Like, for example, this is the start area, right? And let's say this is the end area. But the normal floor isn't there. Like, it just isn't there. So, like, look, it's not complete yet, right? This level editor. But the fact that this already exists kind of lends itself to show what sort of longevity that they're looking at with this sort of game. It has an upload feature, but I don't know if that's working, and I kind of don't really want to click it in case something goes wrong. But just the fact that that level editor is there shows that how much longevity this sort of game will ultimately have. It actually does this weird thing right now where it actually defaults to something else, which I can't change. Let's try one of the harder levels. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Shadowblade Reload. Now available on Steam. Early access for $9.99 or whatever your regional equivalent happens to be. It's got a lot going for it, and definitely has a lot of potential to be one of those top games. It's just that right now, I'd say there's a lot of features that will definitely be very frustrating for the players who like this sort of game. So if you're into things like speedrunners or, well, I suppose even Mark of the Ninja for that matter. If you're into speedrunning games, score attack games, this could be for you, but just be warned that taking the scores too seriously will lead to a lot of frustration, and not in a good way. Not the good sort of frustration that you're looking for. There's definitely some features that will become very frustrating in future, and hopefully they do sort those out. But other than that, it's already got very good level variety, good amount of enemy variety, and, well, it is actually quite a lot of fun. So do check it out if you like what you see right now. Go check them out on early access. And as always, my name has been Panzer, and I'll see you guys next time.